The United States has taken strong action against 4 Indian companies, accusing them of helping Iran sell oil despite American restrictions. These companies have now been hit with economic penalties, making it really hard for them to do business. The US has long imposed strict sanctions on Iran's oil trade because it believes that Iran uses the money from oil sales to fund activities that destabilize the region. However, Iran has continued selling oil using secret methods. And the US claims that these 4 Indian companies played a huge role in this particular trade. But why did the US take this action? And what does this mean for India and the global market? Let's break it down in simple terms. Sanctions are like financial punishments that countries use against businesses, individuals, or even entire nations. The goal is to stop them from doing things that are considered illegal or harmful. If a country is involved in activities that another nation strongly opposes, economic restrictions are placed to make it really difficult for them to trade, bank, or conduct financial transactions. Some common types of sanctions include trade bans, stopping businesses from buying or selling goods, freezing access by blocking money or properties owned by companies or individuals, banking restrictions that prevent them from using international financial system like SWIFT, a travel ban that stops people from moving freely to other countries as well. Now in this case, the US has imposed targeted sanction on 4 specific Indian companies. According to the US government, these are the 4 companies that are sanctioned. The names are written right at your screens. 3 of these companies allegedly managed oil ships that were transporting Iranian oil illegally, while Cosmos Lines Inc. was directly involved in shipping Iranian oil. The US claims that Iran uses a convert network of brokers, shippers, and vessels to transport and sell its oil, bypassing restrictions that have been in place for years. The US has now sanctioned these Indian companies for their alleged role in facilitating such trade. The US has really firm stance against Iran's oil trade because it believes that Iran uses the money from these sales to support its military and proxy groups, which Washington argues that cause instability in the region. However, Iran has developed ways to keep selling oil despite these sanctions. Some of these ships turn off their tracking devices to hide their movement, while others transfer oil from one ship to another at the sea, making it harder to trace its origin. It is often mixed with another oil to disguise its Iranian origin before being sold. The US calls this particular network of vessels as shadow fleet, which is designed to avoid detection and continue to trade of Iranian oil. The 4 Indian companies that have been sanctioned were allegedly part of this particular network, which is why they are now facing penalties. Because of these sanctions, these companies will face several difficulties. They can no longer do business with American companies or banks. Their money or assets in the United States, if any, can be frozen, and international businesses may avoid working with them to stay out of any trouble. They also may struggle to get loans or insurance for their shipping operations. Essentially, their ability to operate smoothly in the global market will be severely affected, as many companies follow US sanctions very strictly. This move serves as a warning to other businesses that might be engaging in similar activities, as the US is showing that it is closely monitoring sanctions linked to Iranian oil. However, there is an ongoing debate about whether sanctions actually work or not. While some believe that economic penalties force companies and countries to follow international rules, others argue that businesses always find loopholes to continue operating. There are several examples where sanctions have not been as effective as it is intended. Russia, for example, have faced heavy US and European sanctions since its invasion of Ukraine, yet it continues to sell oil because countries like India and China still buy from Moscow. Though let me tell you, India has never said that we are not going to buy. India is very firm and very loyal. Similarly, North Korea has been under strict sanction for years, but it has still managed to fund its activities. Iran itself has been under US sanction for a long time, yet it continues to find secret ways to trade oil. Now, these examples shows that while sanctions create difficulties, they do not always completely stop illegal trade. For India, this situation creates a diplomatic challenge. While India follows international rules, it also has strong trade relationship with both Iran and the US. The Indian government has not yet commented on these sanctions, but it will likely be closely monitoring the particular situation. In the meantime, Indian businesses involved in global trade, specifically in shipping and oil industries, will need to be more cautious to avoid getting caught in similar sanctions in near future, as it affects the image of the country as well. This development could also have broader implications for India's trade and foreign policy, as it must balance its relationship with both Washington and Tehran. Basically, in conclusion, the US is contributing to its crackdown on companies worldwide that helps Iran sell oil. This time, 4 Indian firms have been targeted and they will now face difficulties in doing business internationally. However, whether these sanctions will actually stop Iran's oil trade remains to be seen. As the global economy becomes more connected, such actions impact not just the targeted companies but also international trade and diplomacy. The world will be watching closely to see how the situation unfolds and how businesses and governments respond to it.